Hi, everybody. This is Barbara Boyd. This is your Monday Brief. Donald Trump is now doing radical surgery on Washington, D.C., and he's going after the twin cancers which almost killed our republic: the CIA, MI6 regime change, and drug money laundering regime, and the British Empire's free trade religion, which provided the cover for dismantling our manufacturing, science, and industrial base. Now, if that isn't enough to grab your attention, Benjamin Netanyahu will be here and meeting with Trump tomorrow to reach a final path to settling the current Mideast war. On the other major war front, negotiations around ending the Ukraine war are proceeding. The only question is whether Ukraine will collapse before negotiations conclude, with Zelensky now saying that half of the billions which Biden allocated and Congress sent to him, your money, never reached them. That's going to be a very interesting unraveling. And the key committee votes on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard will be on Tuesday. By all accounts, Kash Patel has the votes to get out of committee. Tulsi and Bobby are question marks. So that's what we're going to be covering today. And these stories are the ones we'll be developing in much more depth on the Promethean Action website beginning today. First, here's the story about what I call the focused and forceful dismantling of the British small wars and regime change machine now living in our government and funded by the American people. Through Elon Musk's Doge, USAID, the United States International Development and Aid Agency, a key component of the regime change industry, which is centered in the Institute for Peace, the National Endowment for Democracy, and USAID, are under Elon Musk's spotlight. Musk did effectively a raid on USAID on Friday. And according to Musk on X, this criminal organization is in the process of being shut down, a fact confirmed by the hysterical reaction in the Washington Post and New York Times, among others. Under the Trump administration's plan, USAID would be put under control of the State Department rather than functioning independently as it does now. Well, not really independently. This is just simply a branch of the CIA and the war machine. It's unclear what they will do with the NED, the National Endowment for Democracy, where the Ukraine Queen, Victoria Nuland, landed after she left the State Department. But it would be very, very wise to dismantle it also, along with the Institute for Peace. These three entities during the last decades have done all the cutout dirty work for the CIA and MI6 in starting wars and regime change. Their aid programs are also a key aspect of the dope trade money laundering machine. Mike Benz just posted to his X account a release from the Institute for Peace, which is exemplary. And it bemoans the fact that the Taliban at one point banned opium production in Afghanistan. Our government institution said that was very bad for the people of Afghanistan and the world. USAID provided a humanitarian grant to fund irrigation for the opium in Afghanistan. Now, Mike Benz in general can give you lots of background on these three agencies very quickly. We'll be publishing longer posts this week on the Promethean Action website based on our own experience. Lyndon LaRouche and his associates were attacked relentlessly by USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy when we detailed the contours of the very black dope economy, keeping both the British Empire's Wall Street and City of London financial houses alive and funding very, very dirty intelligence operations. Now, I asked Kurt Wiebe, the NSA whistleblower, a couple of years ago, how would you go about draining the security state swamp if you were to undertake the task? Kurt said, you need one person with a chainsaw. just going through and threatening and cutting everything because the bad parts will jump out immediately and expose themselves. And you need one person guiding the organization or guiding the chainsaw who knows where the bodies are buried and can direct them. And that person also should be knowledgeable enough to repurpose and restructure as needed. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, having served on the Senate Intelligence Committee, knows where the bodies are buried. Musk is manning the chainsaw. I might add that this audit being conducted by Musk will make this change permanent, despite the howls coming from the security state establishment. You see, once you get in there, you have the receipts for the dirty operations, and the evidence will be uncontrovertible when you show them to the American people. That is the evidence of the crimes of USAID, the National Endowment for Democracy, and the Institute for Peace, all of which are criminal organizations. Now, about the trade war, which isn't a trade war. It is a life-saving mission. The tariffs imposed by Trump over the weekend on Canada, Mexico, and China have provoked total pearl-clutching hysteria from the Wall Street and London crowd. Trump was very clear about the reason for these tariffs. Mexico, Canada, and China are key components of the drug war which is being waged against the American people. These nations can get their act together and take the cartels out with us, including the fentanyl labs in British Columbia, or they can suffer the consequences. It is not a trade war, although, as Trump says, you may not be able to get every consumer good we import from these countries. But to me, giving up avocados from Mexico is a small price to pay for stopping the killing of our children. A piece by Mike Steger, which will go up on the Promethean Action website today, gives you a more in-depth look at the key aspects of this real battle taking place between the American system of political economy and protection of American labor, embraced by Trump, and the British free trade system embraced by oligarchs for purposes of cheap labor and controlling the population. It is not accidental that George Soros, Milton Friedman, and other free traders just love drug legalization and its results for disorientation, pacification, and reduction of populations. Now, for the wars. So far, against all predictions, the ceasefire and hostage exchange which Trump negotiated in the current Mideast war is holding. That is despite the fact that Netanyahu needs the wars for his survival in Israel and enormous pressure from his political base in the fanatical Israeli settlerist movement and in the Christian Zionist movement here and abroad. It is clear that Saudi Arabia holds many, many cards here. Netanyahu may survive politically and not go to jail on corruption charges if relations with Saudi Arabia can be normalized. That would be the last step in Trump's Abraham Accords from his first administration, which were sabotaged by Biden. The Saudis, in turn, have to help find a way to secure the peace in Gaza and the West Bank and the safe fate of the Palestinian people. I might add, absent Hamas, the British-created Muslim Brotherhood terror organization to which significant percentages of the Palestinians still swear allegiance. The Muslim Brotherhood's advocates include none other than Barack Hussein Obama. Hamas remains determined to eliminate the state of Israel, and that's really a roadblock to the preferred two-state solution. We will be following this and reporting on it on the website. Militarily in Ukraine, a collapse is occurring. The question is, as I said before, whether Russia will prevail militarily before peace can be negotiated. Zelensky now says he only got half the billions we sent him. Well, where did they go? This will be a very interesting unraveling. Now to the nomination fights and their status. Both Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. will see their nominations voted on Tuesday in the respective Senate committees. The vote on Gabbard will be conducted in secret by the Senate Intelligence Committee, which is a ludicrous practice. I have to say, this committee was founded on the idea of giving the American people transparency when it comes to the security state. Now, it seems, these senators think they are part of the security state, and their votes are akin to revealing sources and methods. It is crazy and outrageous. The question marks on Gabbard, according to this morning's Political, are Susan Collins, Jerry Moran of Kansas, and Todd Young of Indiana. They will determine whether this nomination gets out of committee and to the floor of the Senate. There are ways to bring the nomination to the floor even with a negative committee vote, but they are much more difficult. The central question posed about Gabbard is absolutely absurd. They attack her for not calling Ed Snowden a traitor, for revealing the fact that there was mass surveillance against the American people and in contravention of the Constitution. He disclosed classified information. He did that and therefore violated the Espionage Act, which is what Tulsi said. He wasn't even indicted by these corrupt deep staters for being a traitor. It's just theater, an excuse for the other massive disagreements these senators have with the way Americans voted on November 5th. The question mark on RFK Jr. is Bill Cassidy of Louisiana. Again, call your senator. If for whatever reason these nominations fail in committee, Trump has said there will be hell to pay. And we have to make that real to them, not by yelling at them, but by reminding them that the American people voted overwhelmingly for this change, and they will be punished both politically by primaries and financially by cutting off their donor support. 202-224-3121. Do it now. Again, the deep state demolition is proceeding. Even the most cynical have to be happy. But you out there must continue to be mobilized. We won the initial battle on November 5th. Now the real war for our republic is fully engaged. Susan Kokinda will be with you on Wednesday for her midweek update. I'll see you again on Saturday. Thanks very much for listening. Let's get out there and fight.
Thanks for watching. Please take a moment and subscribe to our free newsletter at prometheanaction.com.